Countess Lou and Danny and I are so excited to chat with you because you are in the middle of a revamped Countess Cabaret tour. This is so exciting. How are you feeling bringing the show back on the road and sort of turning it on its head a little bit, changing things up?
Yeah, it's great. I love being on the road. I look forward to it. I travel with a great team. I have my director is Richard J. Alexander, who directed um, Bette Midler and Kristen Chenoweth and Barbara Streisand, and he's awesome. And it's just so much fun. I love the fans show up. They get dressed for me. They put on their sequins. They put on their statement necklaces, and they show up for me, which is amazing. And I do a Q&A with the audience, and I always get asked the question, Mary F. Kill. That seems to be, which will be the new tour that I'm doing next year because it gave me so much inspiration because I always get asked that question. So it's immersive. People love it. They have a great time. They hang out after my shows. They have the common thread of, knowing the Housewives. So they have something to talk about already. You know what I mean? So it's a fun time. I say it's cabaret meets comedy, meets pop culture.
I love it.
I show a lot of video clips, and I tell lots of stories to get into the song and why I chose that song. And so it's really an immersive. You're really on my living room couch and taking a ride. I always say people, drive in their, Ford Explorer, and they drive out in a Rolls Royce, because I really put on a great show. And I think, the proof is in the pudding because people are always like, what a great show. And that's what keeps people coming back.
And I also love you kicked off saying, you're like, oh, Barbara Streisand, Bette Midler, Kristen Chenoweth, like you're just like, oh, the director who works with. So it's a show that brings on a full event, like you said. And I had a friend who just went in Philly and said they had the time of their lives. They were like, I want to go again. And I'm like, I guess you have like groupies now, I feel, that are just going to be following you around city to city. And how does it feel to kind of like, because I feel a lot of people who are from Housewives try to kind of have an interactive, fun show, but I don't think any of them have lasted as long as Cabaret Star right here.
Right. I've been doing it since 2018.
Yeah.
And, this was my idea. It was an idea of a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, who said, Lou, you love to host parties, you love to sing for your friends, and you love to tell jokes. I got to tell you, you should be doing cabaret. And that's really how it started. And I started writing the show, and my original director was Ben Rimmelauer, who we love, who's now at Green Room 42 and does a lot of shows over there. And it really started as a passion project. I had no idea that it would become, as successful as it has become. So I'm thrilled. I love doing it. I think people understand that when they come to my show. It's a good time, and I'm having a good time, so they have a good time.
Yeah, no, I went to see you at the Borgata years ago, and then I also saw you at the first BravoCon. Got my t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Today. Yeah. If I were to go to the show today and I really want to, look at that. Dan, I got
we've all attended.
Oh, you guys got your swag. I love
it. How is the show different today, though, if I were to come to a show on this leg of the tour?
It's totally different because it really has to do with what's going on in my life at the time. The cabaret this time around it's always different. I talk about what's going on in my life. I talk about Crappy Lake. I get into Ultimate Girls Trip because that's coming out in December. The OG cast trip to St. Bert's. It's always different music. It's different videos. I change up my shows so they're always fresh and always new. I used to have guests. It used to be Countess and Friends. And then we realized, the minute I would go off stage, people would lose their attention. So they would go, get a drink or go to the bathroom. And so I realized that, that I didn't really need to have all these guests. It was fun doing that show. And then I just made it, Countess Cabaret, because they really come to see me and be with me. And so it's totally different. Each show, every time I go back out on tour, it's a different show.
And I feel like you were saying so much of it is about what's happening in your life. And from the last time, like people might have seen you, you've been doing so much more because you went from having one show on TV to now two shows that everybody is upset. Like, how does that feel too? That it's almost like in this moment, you have this revamped cabaret tour and you went from like, people were like, oh, what's going to happen next for our RHONY ladies? And you're like, you can watch me twice a week. Like do you feel like you're kind of on like the thriving side of things?
I do. I feel very blessed. Sonia and I, out of the 495 housewives in the franchise, that's a joke. Out of all the housewives, when it came time, to pick the Laverne and Shirley, and they actually got the initials right, Luann and Sonia, they picked the two of us to be those people that go and swoop into this small town of Benton, Illinois. And we're small town girls at heart. Sonia and I both grew up in small towns. Our lives have changed a lot since then, but we are, small town girls at heart. We're small town girls at heart. And I feel like when we got to Benton, we really fell in love with these people, and we made a lot of really positive changes in the town. And I just hope that we can do that in a lot of small towns across the country.
Yeah, are you thinking about a season 2, a season 3, going to different places? I mean, this really could be like the new Simple Life.
Well, people are comparing it to the Simple Life meets Schitt's Creek. It's really kind of more Schitt's Creek because it's the motel and it's the mayor and it's the townspeople and the motel owners, Hiral and Akash, who are amazing. Do you know that at the motel, they built a new wing? They're booked solid until next year in April. Yeah, the Luann and Sonia suites are selling for more money, and they have the dog run for the dogs. They've got the playground for the children. I think it feels really good to not just go into that town and help them, but to leave some good things behind to help keep the town at its best.
And I love, like, do you feel like you would want, because I know it's probably hard because so many other Bravo ladies that you love. Do you think there's another pair that'd be fun for that? Or do you kind of think like
no. So Sonia and I are kind of like Renaissance women, in that way. I mean, not that a lot of the housewives aren't, but we style ourselves, we decorate our own homes, we've had the same kind of travel experience, in Europe and languages, etc. And so I think they picked the right team.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys really are such a great duo. But Danny and I, we recently had a live show for our podcast, and your friends, Cynthia and Sutton, did the show, and their chemistry was so great on stage. And a lot of people after the show were like, maybe they should do a version of Crappy Lake. What do you think of Cynthia and Sutton possibly getting in on the Crappy Lake game?
Well, listen, it's interesting because I know that was a conversation that was probably had at some point, and but you don't change the people that work. I think when two people's chemistry work, that it's the kind of thing that you want to keep. If a show's successful, why would you change the talent, right? Not to say that I love Cynthia and I love Sutton. Not to say that they wouldn't be great. But just to say, when you have a hit show, then why would you change the main cast, right?
That's a very interesting thought that I think a lot of Bravo fans have been saying lately too.
Yeah, right. If it works, if it's not broken, then why fix it?
Yeah, well, there definitely is magic among the RHONY Legacy girls, and I know that you had a really, really fun time filming in St. Bart's. I know Danny and I cannot wait to see that season. How are you feeling leading up to it? What are you most excited for the fans to see? Because I know that the Bravo fandom is just eager to get you girls back on screen in any capacity.
Well, listen, we go to St. Bart's this time. We go back to the same house. So it's kind of Scary Island Part 2. And where we break the fourth wall, and we talk about that, and we talk about, so maybe you're going to see a pirate or two.
Ooh.
Okay.
And
are we gonna see
boys?
Are we gonna see the pirate? Does he make an appearance?
I can't tell you that.
Ooh, wait, can you tell us, does PM Dorinda come out? Because Kelly Ben Simone recently told Page Six that she was told to be warned about AM to PM Dorinda. So how is Dorinda? Does she have a little PM fun that Kelly should have been?
First of all, she got it wrong. It's not AM and PM Dorinda. It is D by day and D by night, which sounds like a new show.
A new show for late night. Yeah.
But listen, we all are someone by day and then someone at night. So, you know, we're not just talking about D here. It's, you know, everybody has their, but, you know, but Kelly, I mean, I love her, but you got it wrong.
Okay. Well, you were saying this was kind of like Scary Island Part 2, Luann. Who exhibited the scariest behavior in same parts, would you say?
Well, let's see, who displayed the craziest behavior? I mean, there's all kinds of crazy going on in this trip. So, you know, I don't think I can pin it on one person. There's a lot of crazy fun stuff going on. So I'm gonna let you guys watch what happens.
Okay. What was it like
I
reconnecting
can't say a lot
uh,
about the
no,
new.
we get it. We get it. You
I'm
gotta
trying to
spoil
give you
the
some
show.
tidbits, guys.
A little sneak.
What was it like reconnecting with Kristen after so many years, you know, of her not being on the show and her moving to California and stuff? I'm sure that was really interesting to catch up with her.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. I mean, excuse me, it was great to see Kristen. I haven't seen her in a long time. She lives out in California now. And listen, she's got a different life. You know, she's got her kids are still younger, and you know, she's married. I'm single, my kids are grown, you know, so you know, our lives don't collide very often. So it was great to spend a week with her, catch up with her, get to know her even better, you know, this time around. Because you know, she just had a couple seasons on the Housewives, and that was like, I don't know how many years ago. So and she still looks gorgeous, I've got to say. She's not hard to look at.
Yeah,
Wait,
she
I
was,
and I'm glad you talked about not hard to look at, because you're saying you're single, your kids are grown, and you're
Yes.
doing this tour. I kind of feel like, is Luann living like rock star vibes? Like, are you dating while on tour? Can you like, are you hopeful to have like a man in every like
A
hemisphere,
man
or
in
like,
every port.
is that the plan, or would you like to kind of have a New York man to come home to after? Like,
You
what is
know,
the vibe right
I'm
now?
more the kind of girl that would like to have a man to come home to.
Okay.
And,
Mhm.
you know, I'm dating, but, you know, touring, I go from one city to the next. So it's not really forgiving in terms of dating, being on the road. And I travel with a team of people. And so I just had a girlfriend say to me, you know, can I come and stay with you that night? You know, I'm like, well, I'll see you for 5 minutes, because then I'm off to another, you know, to Minneapolis, or Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota. I'm going to Prior Lake, Minnesota. Anyway, you guys have all my dates, right? You're going to talk about all my dates coming up, but so I don't even have to mention them, because there's a long list and I can't remember all of them. But you know, yeah, no. So I'd rather have the guy that's waiting for me at home, and who has, you know, would be nice to have a guy who knows how to cook, nice little dinner, or we just go out to dinner. I don't care at this point. I'm just happy to have a guy waiting for
I
I feel
love
you.
that.
I feel you.
We're manifesting that for you. You were just talking about all the dates you have coming up for the tour, and it made me think there have been some really iconic tours that have happened this year in 2023 between Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Janet Jackson, Madonna's coming up with her tour, and we also have the Countess. How does it feel
Well,
to
thank you for putting me in the same lineup. I mean, I feel
Hey,
very honored.
I don't have a
no,
Taylor Swift candle.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously my theaters are more in the thousands and not in the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but nonetheless, you know, I put on a great show. I work hard on my cabaret to make it really a great experience and a fun time and a party. And so, you know, whether you're 1,000 people or 50,000 people, you know, you're putting on a show.
And I
Yeah,
am curious, because a lot of people are like, they're like Taylor, Beyonce, like they're picking between. If you could pick, which one do you feel you're more like as a performer, Taylor Swift or Beyonce? Like, go into the Countess show, are you getting a Taylor or a Beyonce?
I think definitely more Beyonce. A little
Why?
more, you know, costumey. Not that Taylor isn't fabulous, of course, but I feel like she's a younger audience. Although my audience is very young, and you know, all the music that I sing in my show, all of my young fans know the song, and that's what I like to do. Is, you know, if I do a cover or whatever, I like for the audience to be able to sing along. They know the music, because listen, their moms grew up. The girls grew up, or the guys grew up, you know, watching with their moms. So, you know, and their moms were listening to the same music that I was. So, so it's very popular. I bring in new songs. I'll take songs and turn them on their head. Like, for example, I did a Christmas show and I said to my director, I want to sing Lay Down Sally. And he's like, Lay Down Sally. And I said, yeah, Eric Clapton song. I love that song. But now it's going to be Lay Down Santa. And so, yeah, so I take songs and I turn them on their heads. I take classic Broadway things and I play the bongos to them, so yeah, so I like to keep it's a lot of fun. It's immersive, Q&A, pop culture videos, and really it's a ride through what's going on in my life right now, and with music, and just a real fun party to be had, and people are loving it, and they hang out later. Like I said, they hang out and they make friends and they go out for drinks, and so it's a real party. It's a good time, and I just love spreading the joy.
I do love that you involve the audience so much and that you do have that fan Q&A. As you've been doing this leg of the tour, what have the fans been asking about most? Because there's a lot going on in the Bravoverse between Shannon Bedore, Kyle and Mauricia. I mean, there is so much. What is the tea that they are asking you to spill?
Well, the Shannon Bedore thing came up. The Kyle thing came up because, listen, I talk about the first Ultimate Girls Trip. I mean, I wrote a song about that song. About that show. The first Ultimate Girls Trip, there were F-bombs on the G4 with the OGs. So I wrote a song called F-bombs. And then Bravo did this amazing video for it, which you can see on, I imagine, online on YouTube. But, things like that. They, when I talk about something, when I talk about Crappy Lake, they want to know about Sonia, and did you guys really sleep in the motel? Did you really stay there? Did you really catch that catfish? Well, hell yeah, I caught that catfish with bare hands, and and they want to know more about that. They want to know about the OG cast trip. They want to know personal stuff about me. Am I dating? How do I keep in shape? Because people are always commenting on I'm in good shape, which is
you
very
are.
nice to hear.
Yes.
You really are, yeah.
And,
wait, because obviously the audience can be a little shady at times. Has anyone brought up Erika Jayne's residency ticket price?
That did come up. And they asked me if I would do residency. And I like being on tour. For me to be in one place and to have to fill a theater every single night would be too daunting. I like moving around. I did the Mirage in Vegas, and I'll definitely be doing some dates in Vegas coming up in the new tour. But I don't think a residency because I just like to travel.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the discounted ticket price for Erika Jayne? I feel like I've never seen a $7 Countess Cabaret ticket.
Yeah, no, no, but how long is she in Vegas for?
I think she's there through December.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope that the ticket sales go well because it's a deal for $7.
That's true. Honestly,
that is a deal.
Yeah. But I like that. Would you ever do because I feel there have been a lot of housewife singles in the world, but has there ever been a collab? Like, I feel like we're overdue for a Countess featuring a housewife. Like, would you do one with Erika, or is there another lady out there?
I don't think my director would like that very much. He's like, it's your show now. It's your own show. Because I've had Lance Bass in my show, Rachel Dratch. I've had incredible talent in my shows when I first started out doing Cabaret. And so, he's like, it's your show now. And so I love it when people show up, of course, when housewives come to the shows, and the audience always loves that. Dorinda comes to the shows, Ramona will come to the show. Jill Zarin, the Housewives, when I was out in LA. I have a show coming up in LA, out in California in November. And, so some of the Housewives cast will probably come from Orange County, etc. So it's nice when the girls show up to support me, and they have a good time. Cynthia will be in Atlanta. Maybe Kenya will be there as well. Ooh. And yeah, so always housewives show up and celebrities show up. The last time I did a show in LA, The Haim sisters came.
Not-
What?
They
That's
did. They didn't let
amazing.
anybody know. They showed up at my California show, at my LA show, and it was incredible. And then my tour manager goes, "Oh my God, the Haim sisters are here, and they want to come and see you backstage." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Anyway, so yeah, like in New York, Madonna's daughter came, who's a big fan, Lourdes. Dakota Fanning was at one of my shows. I did Mary F. Kill in New York. You're gonna die. So one of my fans goes, Mary F. Kill. Okay, David Letterman, Brad Pitt, or Andrew Dice Clay, the comedian from like the 90s, right? So I go, all right, well, I'm gonna marry David Letterman because first of all, he's funny and he's rich. I've never been a big fan of Brad Pitt, so I'm gonna have to kill Brad Pitt, and I'm gonna have to do Andrew Dice Clay. She goes, well, good, because he's sitting right behind me. And Andrew Dice Clay stands up and he goes, and he always has a cigarette hanging out. He goes, Countess, you were amazing. I fucking love you.
Oh my God. Okay, so then what happened after this show?
He came to my dressing room, his fiance, he was with his fiance, who's a big fan. So he got dragged with the fiance, and Andrew Dice Clay was at my show. And he came upstairs. That was the night that Lourdes was there as well. And he came upstairs and we talked for hours. He has the same agent, Rich Super from Gersh, who is my touring agent. So we talked about him. We hung out. He is the nicest guy, and he's actually on tour right now doing comedy. So isn't that a great story, though?
That is
That
impeccable.
is.
And also, that's why I'm so excited now. The show is just all you, because you have people like Andrew Dice Clay. They want to see Lou on stage constantly. You know what I mean? So I feel like it must be such a good, like, a reassurance of the talent and star power that you have, that all these people are coming just to see you.
I know. And, even in LA, well, like I did the Wiltern out in LA, which I'm looking at doing in 2024 again, where Madonna did her show. Molly Shannon came and Terry Hatcher came. I mean, it was just like, it's just such a huge nod to me that all these amazing, artists and talented people and actors, are interested to come to my shows. I mean, listen, I'm just loving it. Like I said, I have a great time doing it, and I think people can really see that. So
yeah, you were mentioning that some of the OC housewives might come out to see you in California. Have you been able to touch base with Shannon Beador? Because I feel like, as someone who navigated some challenges in the public eye, you would have some good advice for her right now.
yeah, but I feel like people need to find their way, and I feel like I don't know Shannon that well either, so I would feel like I was intruding, you know what I mean? I'm sure this was a great wake-up call for her, and I'm sure she's on the way of taking good care of herself, and I hope that she is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know that she has her man John Jansen by her side. We know Archie's okay. Things are looking up for Shannon. I know she has Tamra and Taylor and all those girls. So who are you closest to among the Orange County ladies?
I've known the OGs more, Vicky and Tamra, Vicky, Tamra.
I feel you and Heather Dubrow could be so elegant together. I don't know if you guys have ever had a lunch.
I don't really know Heather.
I feel that has to change, because
right.
Yeah,
I think I would like her. And I know Shannon. I met her just, I think, once or twice. So I feel like at a time like this, people need their privacy, and they need to, work on things themselves, and some quiet time, I think,
Yeah. Now BravoCon is coming up.
I'm thinking of her, of course, I'm thinking of her, and it's, it's never easy. And, but look, when things happen like that, there's only one way to go.
That's true.
Very, very true. Now, BravoCon is coming up. Are you so excited? And who are you most looking forward to catching up with, or even meeting? Since I apparently you don't know some of these Bravo celebrities, like
right. I know people think automatically, because you're a housewife, all these housewives, but I don't know, some of them. And so anyway, I'm looking forward to BravoCon. It's in Vegas, yes. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting some of the new Bravo celebrities, to catching up with the new Housewives of New York. I don't know them well either. But I think, they represent, a different kind of New York, and people should give them a chance, because look, we've been at it for 14 years, and I think they're interesting and beautiful women. So, I wish them success.
I feel when you meet, I hope you meet Jessel, the new girl there, because you and her would have so much fun. I feel you would really
'Cause
vibe with her.
I haven't met, well, I met them briefly at the upfronts, and very briefly, so I didn't get to talk to, I met Erin at a Broadway show, who's lovely. And I met Jenna Lyons for the first time. I didn't know Jenna. So yeah, so it'll be a good, I think BravoCon's gonna be great in Vegas. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
We are excited to see you there too.